At exactly 3:21 a.m., Russian radar operators near Luhansk noticed something strange. A faint signal blinked on their screens, then vanished. Static interference. They shook their heads, assuming it was nothing. But in that same moment, far away, in the dark Ukrainian night, launchers roared to life. Rockets were already in the air, drones already closing in. And what cameras captured in the next 12 minutes would send shockwaves through global military circles.
The strike wasn't random. The target was the Luhansk Sector Command Headquarters, a vast nerve center dug deep beneath the earth. This facility coordinated Russia's war in Donbas. Inside, more than 120 senior officers directed artillery fire, missile launches, and the flow of supply trains that kept frontline troops alive. Its location was secret, its defenses formidable. S-400 long-range air defense systems patrolling the skies, Pantsir S-1 batteries hidden in tree lines, electronic warfare towers jamming satellite signals. The bunker itself, reinforced with concrete and steel, buried meters below ground. Russian commanders believed it was untouchable. For Ukraine, destroying it wasn't just about territory. It was about breaking the command spine of the enemy. The mission was greenlit. 2:40 a.m. On the edge of a silent village near Kramatorsk, two M142 HIMARS launchers rolled into position. Engines low, headlights blacked out. Mud clung to their wheels. Inside the lead vehicle sat Sergeant Mykola Shevchenko, a 32-year-old gunner who hadn't seen his family in 6 months. He stared at the fire control screen, hands steady, heart pounding. "Coordinates uploaded," said the commander beside him. "Range 85 kilometers. Flight time under 2 minutes." Mykola whispered a quiet prayer. Then he placed his thumb over the launch switch. Meanwhile, 200 kilometers away, Ukrainian engineers prepared a refurbished Tu-141 Strij drone, a Cold War relic upgraded with new guidance and a heavy warhead. It sat hidden on a disguised railcar, tarpaulin covers pulled tight until the order came. Above the fields, Bayraktar TB2 drones circled in silence. Their infrared cameras streamed live footage of the Russian compound. Operators in hidden trailers leaned forward, eyes locked on screens. "Radar jammers engaged," one whispered. "They don't see us." Inside the HIMARS cabin, Mykola's headset buzzed. "Final check. Fire window in 3, 2, 1. The commander raised his hand. "Launch!" The pods erupted in flame. 6 rockets tore into the sky, accelerating to Mach 3 in seconds. The cabin rattled, then fell into silence. On his screen, Mykola saw only empty coordinates, but in his chest, he felt the weight of history. 03:18 a.m. Inside the Luhansk command bunker, alarms blared. Operators scrambled as blips filled their radar. "Inbound, multiple, low altitude," shouted one officer. "Intercept impossible," another barked back. 10 seconds. 5, 3, 2. The first HIMARS rocket slammed into the surface relay tower. The explosion folded steel like paper, knocking antennas into fire. Screens inside the bunker flickered, communications dropping instantly. The second rocket found a fuel truck. The detonation lit the compound like a second sun. Then came the Tu-141. Its jet roared as it skimmed low across the horizon, camera feeds zooming in. Instead of a narrow shaft, it targeted the above-ground relay, a weak spot in the defenses. The warhead struck with surgical precision. Concrete erupted, cables snapped, and flames raced downward into underground chambers. The chain reaction had begun. 03:21 a.m. The ground shuddered. Inside the bunker, ceilings cracked, dust choking the air. Officers screamed, maps and monitors crashing to the floor. One survivor later recalled, "It felt like the walls themselves were trying to swallow us." Above ground, Bayraktar drones filmed everything. Blast doors buckled outward. Vehicles were thrown across the compound. Secondary explosions rolled in waves. Fuel depots, ammunition stocks, one after another. Smoke columns rose thousands of feet, glowing orange against the night. Suddenly, a hidden Pantsir S-1 roared to life.
Its cannons spat tracer rounds into the dark, searching for drones overhead. Sparks lit the sky. For a moment, it seemed Ukraine's eyes would be blinded. But then, one delayed HIMARS rocket found its mark. The Pantsir vanished in a single incandescent fireball. The skies were silent again.
Private Ivan Kuznetsov, a 22-year-old conscript from Volgograd, had been on guard duty that night. He had been counting the days until his rotation ended, dreaming of going home. When the first strike hit, he was thrown to the ground, ears ringing. He crawled toward the bunker, smoke filling his lungs. Body camera footage, later leaked, showed his desperate movements. Collapsed corridors, sparks showering from ripped cables, voices crying beneath rubble. "Commander! Commander!" he shouted, pulling at twisted steel. No answer came. The footage ended as a secondary blast hurled him into darkness. That video would become one of the most haunting clips of the war. By sunrise, the compound was a blackened ruin. Satellite images revealed the bunker entrance obliterated, relay towers twisted into wreckage. Dozens of burned-out vehicles scattered like toys. Drone footage circled overhead, capturing smoke pouring from underground shafts. Infrared cameras showed lingering heat where explosions had gutted inner chambers. On Russian Telegram, frantic videos appeared. Ambulances overloaded, soldiers digging with bare hands, commanders screaming into dead radios. Analysts pieced together the toll. At least 2 Russian generals confirmed dead, more than 70 officers killed or wounded, regional command structure crippled. The strike had not just destroyed a facility, it had severed Russia's control of the battlefield. The impact rippled instantly. Frontline units stopped receiving orders. Artillery fire slackened. Supply convoys sat stalled without coordination. Soldiers recorded themselves muttering, "Who commands us now? Who gives the orders?" For Ukraine, it was proof of precision power. For Russia, it was humiliation. Their fortress, thought untouchable, had been pierced. International media reacted swiftly. CNN called it a precision strike that rewrote the battlefield. The British MOD said, Russia's command and control has suffered catastrophic degradation. But the celebration came with a cost. Within 48 hours, Russia struck back. A barrage of Iskander ballistic missiles rained down on Kyiv and Kharkiv. Cameras in the cities captured terrifying scenes. Residential blocks collapsing in fire. Sirens howling across the night. Civilians huddled in metro stations. Children clinging to parents. In Kharkiv, a school was reduced to rubble. In Kyiv, entire apartment rows stood roofless, windows shattered into the streets. The Kremlin's message was clear. No strike would go unanswered. Every Ukrainian blow would bring civilian pain in return. The cycle of escalation had sharpened. NATO analysts warned that the strike marked a turning point. If Ukraine could reach this deep, Russia would respond with harsher measures. Some feared command centers moving even further underground. Others feared the specter of escalation beyond conventional weapons. For Ukrainians, morale surged. The strike was celebrated online. Drone footage set to music, soldiers cheering. It showed that the invincible could be broken. But a darker truth lingered. Every Ukrainian victory risked Russian fury, and each escalation pushed the war closer to spiraling beyond borders. As night fell again over the ruins, Sergeant Mykola Shevchenko sat in his HIMARS cabin. He replayed the launch footage, exhausted, hollow. He whispered to himself, "We didn't just hit their bunker. We hit their certainty." But the question remains. If Ukraine can shatter Russia's command centers with strikes this precise, how far will Moscow go in return? And what happens when the next strike pushes the war beyond the front lines? The cameras captured flames and destruction, but the true explosion, the one echoing through strategy, morale, and global politics, may only just be starting. Want to dive deeper into the battles shaping this war? Hit subscribe and join the conversation in the comments. Was this Ukraine's boldest move? Want to dive deeper into the battles shaping this war? Hit subscribe and join the conversation in the comments. Was this Ukraine's boldest move yet, or just the spark for something far bigger? Remember,
Sometimes the battles fought in silence before dawn decide the fate of nations.